Tonight, Sasha is in a literal glass case of emotion. But don't worry, Yvonne, TJ, and Big Frank are on the case. And speaking of Big Frank, we have him here live in studio. It's the Chambers After Show for episodes 9 and 2 in the Gloaming and the Crystal Oregon. Let's go.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
How's everyone out there, guys? It's AfterBuzzin'. Woo! It's Chambers After Show. Of course, I'm Flobo Boyce. I'm up here in the big boy chair. But before we even get forward, I want to say this. We have a very, 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 very ultimate special guest live in studio. Mr. Big Frank Yazzie himself, Mr. Marcus LaVoi. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. Good to be here.
No problem. And in fact, you were here with us as we recap episodes 9 and 10. And before I prod you with 1,000,001 questions, let me introduce the rest of the panel. On the far left, we have someone who's one of the most insightful journalists on the planet, and she's a walking sports almanac, Miss Jackie Rae.
These are all facts. Thank you for that marvelous introduction.
I can't wait to hear my introduction.
And there's Christian Bladt. How's it going?
Hi, everybody.
I know we're at the end of season 1 of Chambers.
That was fast.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
So
I
quick.
mean, 10
So
episodes
quick.
in and out. Overall thoughts of the season? Starting with you, Jackie.
I mean, the ending. First of all, some of our fifth panelists out there, you guys in the comments kind of said the whole season. Wait till the ending, because you guys jumped ahead. Thank you for not spoiling it for me because I loved the ending.
Blow you away?
I was like, I kind of saw something coming, but not that. But when she took control at the end, I was like, that is my girl.
Yeah,
I was down.
yeah.
I was all the way down.
I didn't see it. I wasn't there. We filmed it. So I was watching it at home, and I saw episode 10 at the end, and I was like, whoa, that's good. That's good. I had no idea.
Did he send you a screener or you had to wait till like everybody else?
No, well, a little bit. A couple days ahead. A
Okay.
couple days
I
ahead. But
didn't
still,
know.
it just blew me away. I was in my living
Right.
room, and I'm just like on the phone, like, did you guys see it?
It's like, yes, it's in the can.
Yeah. We saw it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, how is it feeling being out there on a show of that scale? I mean, we're talking about this in episode 1. The scenes look majestic out there in the southern United States and seeing that talented cast. I mean, how much would it be for you on your side?
I mean, I'm just honored to be a part of it. It was crazy. I think Netflix has done such an incredible job at kind of changing a paradigm, first of all, for Native American in general, Native Americans in general, for minorities in general. It kind of spearheaded this whole cultural diversity and cultural awareness.
Yeah.
And for the first time in all my years of watching TV or film, Native Americans are portrayed, we're normal, everyday people, kind of doing normal, everyday things, and we're caught up in some extreme circumstances. And I think that's kind of a new thing that Netflix is doing, and I'm a part of that.
Sure.
And so it's such an honor. Being a Native American man, I'm so honored to be a part of that. And here we are. We're not shooting arrows into people and screaming at the top of our lungs with war paint on our face. It's a new thing. And I hope that this generates a whole new culture and a whole new awareness to who we are, what we are. We still have a voice. We're still here.
I think that they do a great job on the show of showcasing the culture and the beliefs and all that. But if you look at the show, no one has to be a Native American. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not like
It's not overdone.
the show's not about it. It just happens to be like, well, let's talk about it. That's what it is. And I think a lot of times it's like, all right, well, we're setting out to make an African American show, an Asian show, or whatever. And I think if that's
point.
where you're
Yeah.
starting from, your show is already going to be put in a box. And I just thought it was great that it's in the background and heavily featured in the show. But I thought Sasha could be any background.
Yeah.
So
It's
great.
not overdone. And what was cool also for Netflix is they brought in, because we were in New Mexico, and it was the Navajo Nation, so they brought in elders from actual neighborhood tribes, and they talked about how you walk, talk, think, clothing. We broke down stereotypes that were not stereotypes anymore. It was actually legitimate way that the natives think out there. And we shot a lot of the scenes out on reservation grounds, and we brought in people, and I think they kept it really legit by doing that, and that was an honor for me as well.
When you got the script, I mean, being Native American, did you, even though, like, to Chris's point, it was kind of in the background, but did you feel like it was, because I felt it was a good theme through the whole thing, where especially anytime Sasha was in some trouble, there was always that one person to say, you don't want that heart in you, or a grandfather was like, he sensed it immediately. Did you feel that even though it was in the background, it was represented properly?
I do. I'm very confident in how we portrayed it. It wasn't, like you said earlier, it wasn't overdone. We didn't push it down anybody's throat. It was kind of done naturally. It was done organically. And I think it came across light, and it's an educational tool to who we are.
Absolutely.
So I think that was important. I mean, everything is about education. I think history books have portrayed us in this savagery or this negative light. Quite the contrary. We're people who love our families. We're people who love our culture. We're people who love God, our Creator. And I think that this was a great start for a new thing that's going to be done, and showing that we're just normal people trying to do our thing like anybody else.
Right, trying to make ends meet.
Trying to make ends meet. Yeah.
I'm sitting next to you, and let me just tell you, you're not normal. You're very above par.
No, I'm super simple.
I'm super
I'm
normal.
seeing the muscles here, and you're above par, my friend.
It's the long hair. It's the long hair.
All it takes is a gym membership? I didn't know that.
And you have to go.
And the
Get that
tattoo.
part.
You gotta get the tattoo.
Things that I do. Well, I liked about Big Frank and his love for Sasha and being able to provide, even though working at a pet shop or a fish shop is not necessarily the most lucrative business, but there's options that are available for him. And in episode 9, when we have Sasha basically imprisoned by Nancy, having Frank like load up the troops almost with TJ and Yvonne and go on that road trip for Sasha just shows how much it is universal. It is not a cultural thing. It's, hey, my niece is in trouble.
Yeah.
Where is my niece?
Yeah.
Let me go get her.
Yeah.
I know during the season where they were playing with that dynamic between Yazzie and between Sasha, as someone like yourself who have children, I mean, how did you pull from that with your interpretation of the character?
I would say that Big Frank is not a far stretch from who I am, and I mean everything is about. I mean, I've been on enough series. I've been in enough shows. I've done enough acting in my career to act. The writing is everything. I mean, the writing staff on Chambers was absolutely phenomenal, and I think that when you have good writing, it's easy for you to kind of step into the role, and just as long as I prepare big time for my roles, I will do a full history on any character I do. I do background, his likes, his dislikes, his wins, his losses. I mean, everything about that character. I will break down a whole history on him from birth to current, and that portrays in my character. And I just think that Big Frank is kind of Marcus. It's not a far stretch. And when I saw this script and I read this, I was like, yeah, the writing is so good in it. I was able to just kind of step into that and become that character. Yeah. And the rest is history.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's great writing. That's what helped. Yeah.
Well, considering you went to that much detail, what's Big Frank's favorite album of all time? What is it?
Oh, it's gotta be Led Zeppelin.
Yeah,
It's gotta be Led Zeppelin. Yeah,
I felt that. Yeah,
It's gotta be. Yeah,
Is it a given?
Yeah, it's a given.
We're in this loop. I didn't know that was a given.
It's kind of a given. Yeah, it's kind of a given. Yeah.
I'm actually Googling Chambers bonus features.
No. Led Zeppelin music is really expensive to license. So.
Yeah.
So Big Frank, obviously, a big part of his identity, as we know him on the show, is the fact that he got away from his family, he left the reservation.
Yeah.
How do you approach sort of playing someone who is, of course, defined by his background, but also trying to kind of push it away a little bit?
Well, interesting story. So I was born on a reservation. I was born on White Earth Reservation in Minnesota. And my father is Native American, and my mother was adopted. She's also Native American from a warring tribe, which is the Sioux Nation. So this is my history. But when my parents divorced at a young age in Minnesota, excuse me, we left and moved to California, my mother and I. So I lost track of my father. I lost track of my heritage. I lost track of my background. Years later, somewhere in the middle of my 30s, my wife hired a private investigator for my birthday one year and found my biological father. Wow. And started having contact with him in emails and correspondence with him. And then she brought me home and she's like, I got this great birthday present. And she had all this paperwork out there. And I was like, I was pissed off. I was like, I don't need him. I'm a grown man now. And it was a really, I didn't realize how hard that hit me,
Yeah.
And I looked over the paperwork, finally gave him a call. And we are the best of friends now. And now I'm getting back into my culture and I'm learning my culture and I'm learning my heritage. And to say that I'm honored, about my heritage and my culture is an understatement. Like, I'm so proud. In a humble way, I'm proud of my people, and I'm proud of my character, and I'm proud of my culture, and now I'm learning it all. So it's kind of just the same as Big Frank. I said these characters parallel each other from each of the characters so well because he's kind of lost track of he kind of was distant from his father and estranged from his father, and now he's kind of getting back to know him. How parallel was that to the reality of my character? Here we are. So it's just like the job is easy, guys. It's been easy.
Did you share any of that with any of your co-stars?
No, I think right now might be the first time I'm kind of sharing it. Yeah, you guys are privileged.
Here on AfterBuzz.
Yeah, AfterBuzz. Yeah, I don't know if I ever talked about it, but yeah, here we are. So it's been a great journey, guys. It's been a great journey.
How was it working with Harrison, the actor who plays Harrison?
Oh, he was great. He was great. Actually, the showrunner, Leah Rachel, love you, Leah. We were looking at her laptop and we were trying to cast the role, and we had a couple of selections there. And so we were filming one day on set, and she was like, "What do you think of this guy?" I'm like, "No." "What do you think of this guy?" "No." And then there was Harrison, and I was like, "That's my dad."
Yeah. That's my dad. Was wearing the hat too? That was
I
perfect.
can't remember the interview. No, I don't think he had a hat in the interview, but it was his self tape, and,
Right.
and he was so good, and I just felt like he was so sincere, and he had a good heart. You know, hopefully, like I have a good heart, and I just kind of like I bonded with him, even watching his self tape. And here we are. He's great.
Yeah,
he's great.
I mean, you do have a good chemistry. Even though you guys were at odds for part of the season, you do have good chemistry together.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
and definitely the dynamic of family tends to be throughout Chambers, whether it's the Lefevres or
All
whether
about
it's Sasha,
family.
all about family.
All about family.
And how that's always constantly changing and evolving. Did you approach, your character differently as the season progressed? And I mean, not so much with being Sasha's uncle, but dealing with her and her growth with the Lefevres, or her understanding her role as a growing woman as well. I mean, how did you approach that scene by scene, episode by episode?
I'll tell you, Savon is a young girl, and she's not very experienced in this industry. She's brand new to the industry, and they put this mountain in front of her.
Yes,
And they
absolutely.
worked her daily, and she had some ups and downs, let's be honest. But I will say this about that little girl. She conquered the mountain. You understand me? She conquered that mountain. She overcame that, and she surpassed all of our expectations. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I watched her through trials and tribulations, and she came through. And I was so impressed by her because I remember at the early going, I got a call from one of the directors, and they were like, please talk to her as your uncle or dad, fellow actor. Let's get her online. And I talked to her, and I said, do you realize that you were the first Native American female to ever have a lead in a TV show?
Oh, wow.
Huge.
Yes,
Wow,
that's
yeah.
huge.
That is amazing.
And furthermore, we're given this opportunity. It's been put in our laps to change the dynamic and the paradigm and the thinking of Native Americans in the film industry.
Yeah.
Huge, you guys, huge. And we're given that gift. So it was put in our laps, and she did her job. And I'm so impressed by her, and here we are today. So I hope that this show not only is a success, but I hope it changes, and I hope it starts to spearhead new shows that are set up, portraying Native Americans. I really hope that.
From a workload standpoint, I think she's been great all season. But these 2 episodes that we just watched, I thought there's a lot of work in there for her. It's
Big
very
time.
emotional. There's a lot of back and forth between Sasha and Becky, and even when she's in the little heart house, or whatever you want to call that.
The wine.
Yeah. Well, no. When they're in sort of the recreation of the house, and
house.
Becky says it's
yeah.
our heart.
Yeah.
And just when she ultimately smothers Becky, I was
Yeah,
just like, it was all great. And
Yeah.
it's funny that you're talking about she's new to it, and I knew that, but I actually forgot by this point in the season. And she does such a great job, and it was such a tall order, so it's really
It was.
impressive.
Yeah. I was very impressed by her.
What order did they film things in? Because I felt, to Chris's point, I felt that she definitely, she was stronger for me these last 2 episodes, especially when she was in the indoor wine cellar.
Which we all have in our house, by the way, right?
Right,
Yeah,
and,
I
and
have
it,
3
and
of
it
them.
locks
Yeah.
from
That
the
locks from the
inside.
outside.
Who
And that's
doesn't
for
have
your
that?
safety.
Yeah.
No, I'm
Drink
kidding.
your way out, guys. Yeah.
But when she was locked in there, just her dynamic of going between Sasha and Becky, I thought she nailed that. Did you give her any advice along the way, or did you were just in awe of her natural progression on her own?
We filmed, in answer to your earlier question, we started with episode 1, and we
Okay.
did 1 and 2. Alfonso Gomez, Rehan did 1 and 2. Amazing director. He's one of the EPs on the show. I love that guy. He did such a fantastic job. He did 1 and 2, and then we did them in order. So
Okay.
if you saw that, I kind of think we all did that. Maybe Tony and Uma, they're such legends in the game, they might not have. But I like to, as I watched them, I kind of see a progression of all of our journey, getting better and getting more comfortable. And I think because that we were out in Albuquerque and we were away from our prospective homes, I think we kind of gelled and became like a family. And I think that helped a lot. We were out there, I want to say maybe 6 months out there in Albuquerque.
Yeah.
And the kids and I all got condos at this little condominium. And I lived up on the 3rd floor overlooking the pool, so I was always like, hey, get to sleep, we got to film in the morning. I was kind of like a dad.
Big Frank!
Yeah, Big Frank. Like, oh, man, buzzkill.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was like, get to bed,
Yeah.
So I think we kind of gelled and became this great little family. And, man, I can't speak highly enough about Tony and Uma. So welcoming and so inviting and so approachable. If you had a question, they weren't like, get away. They were just like, talk to me. Let's run the scene. I rehearsed with Uma one time, I think for half an hour, on one little scene we did, just let's go again, let's go again, and she just taught me so much about the game.
Yeah.
I lost your question. What were you?
You answered it, like if you filmed them in order, because like I said, I thought she kind of grew.
Yeah, I think we all grew. I think
Yeah.
we all grew, and we became better, and we became more. I think when you have a comfortability on set, that portrays or that comes across in your performance, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I think you know when you're comfortable with somebody, like you guys are comfortable. I heard you talking a bunch of mess earlier, and it was like
There was a little
It was just factual. It wasn't mess.
but I'm saying, you know, that comfortability comes into play. I think that it comes across in performance.
For sure.
So I think we had a lot of that going on. Yeah.
There was one scene in particular, not to get on this a weird tangent, but I was like, I bet he wouldn't do that in real life. When you went up to the Ben and Nancy's house, I'm not even gonna slaughter the
Creepy dad.
and creepy dad, and not so sure about mom. We give them nicknames, not so sure. But you went up and Sasha comes out and she's like, I'm not going with you. And you were just kind of like, and then got in your truck and drove out. And we all collectively said, he would not do that in real life.
Pick
Exactly.
that girl up, put her over your shoulder.
would not happen.
We'll talk about this when we get home.
No, I mean, okay, so let me speak on that. The earlier Marcus, I probably would have beat everybody's ass.
Right, that's what we thought.
Throw my knees on my shoulder, like, we're out of here.
In a Starbucks.
Yeah,
beating
so
people.
there would have been a police report. It would have been like, I might have done some minor jail time. But I think that the person that I am now, I think that, once again, I think this character really parallels me. And, sometimes you have to pick your battles. And I think that, in that scene, I kind of like internally was like, I was thinking, I'm going to get her back, but I have to regroup, kind of reevaluate my senses and kind of, I'm going to get her back, though. And I think that was kind of what I think internally was going on. Like, all right, you may have me now, but that's my baby. I'm going to get her back. That's my family. Yeah. So it was kind of a regrouping maybe, but normally I probably would have been a 911 call.
Yeah,
maybe.
and they live in a glass house. I was like, this is not going to end well. This glass house is coming down.
It's cool to see that motivation there. But before we go on, Ms. Jackie, do you have something to tell the people out there in the room?
Of course I do. First and foremost, I want to say thank you guys so much for watching us. If you're in the live chat right now, say hello, leave a comment, because we've got Big Frank Marcus is here. Say something, but while you're there, make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you're listening to us right now on iTunes, thank you and hello, and give us 5 stars, because we are really excited to be here. Where else in the world can you come and chat with somebody who's from a show that you absolutely love, but AfterBuzz? So we thank you guys for supporting us and what we do. And remember, we need your help to continue to grow. So tell a friend and tell a friend. Everything you want to see, all your favorite shows, they're right here on AfterBuzz TV. So make sure you subscribe, follow us here, and once again, thank you for supporting us in what we do.
Yeah. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Josh.
The Chambers After Show.
Great job.
So, Morgan, I got to ask you, was acting always the pursuit, or was it you got bit by the bug, or what was your story, man?
So I was in law enforcement years ago, maybe 100 years ago.
Like walking the beat or detective? Or?
All the above, yeah.
Okay.
All the above,
Oh, wow.
all the above. I
Congrats,
was
man.
starting corrections, and I went with Sheriff's Department. I did.
Well, thanks for your service.
Yeah, it was. Thank you. So what it was is I was a workaholic. So I would have all this time on the books, right? And so I got an agent up in LA. I started doing a little background work, like security work on the set, just kind of standing there making sure nobody got crazy. And they were like, hey, big guy, you want to do a scene? I was kind of like, yeah, all right. And so I started doing a little security work on the set. And that one thing led to another. Then I got an agent up in LA, and I had all this sick time on the book. So what I would do is my agent would call me and say, we got a role up here in LA. I didn't know LA at all. I didn't know my ways around here.
I've been here 12 years. I still don't know LA. I get lost every
remember,
day.
let's go back to Thomas Guides. Remember Thomas
Oh,
Guides?
that's the worst.
Like 7G, Ventura Boulevard, 7G. So I had this Thomas Guide, and I would get my little pickup truck. I'd call in sick. I'd drive up to LA the night before. I'd sleep in my pickup truck, and I'd find 7G or whatever it was, and I would know this is where my audition's going to be. I'd wake up, clean up, brush my teeth in a Shell gas station. I'd go to the audition, and I did that for years. Because if you don't believe in yourself, nobody else is gonna.
Right.
And that I'm not trying to say some cliche thing, but it's truth. If you don't believe in yourself, who's gonna believe in you?
Right.
People don't listen long.
Yeah.
So I believed in this. I knew this was my calling. I knew God ordained me to do this, and nobody could tell me otherwise. So I would get up and go to this audition. I'd drive back home. Most of them I didn't get, but some I got. And sooner or later I started booking them. And here we are. So that's how it all started.
I gotta ask, if you're an actor and even in law enforcement, there's hours you gotta be in concentration mode. Like, how do you keep your mind from wandering, talking about like what's at home for dinner, or like what is my oven on? Like, how do you keep focused in the role and scene?
Yeah, I mean, my wife would say life with you is like a roller coaster. I mean, it's a lot of. I give all respect and admiration to any law enforcement out there. It is a tough job. It's a job that's scrutinized all the time. It's looked at under negative light. But these guys, you got to understand, they're always going to something negative. They're never going to a happy call. It's always you're dealing with some problem.
Right.
And when you're doing that for an 8-10 hour shift, after years of doing it, I'm telling you guys, it starts to take its toll.
No, for sure.
And hats off to the guys out, men and women out there who are doing that job, because it's a difficult job. And for me, it broke me. It caused me a divorce. We were divorced. My wife and I were divorced for 2.5 years. I moved to LA to pursue the career. She moved up here, and we started going to church, serving God, and we reunited, started taking classes on how to do things right. We were remarried and got a second chance.
Y'all need a relationship class. You can't make a relationship last for 10 minutes. Y'all get a do-over and everything.
In LA, man, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Big Frank.
Yeah.
So it says here that you're a rider. You ride Harleys.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
What do you ride, man? I gotta ask.
I have a 06 Softail Deluxe.
What?
All chromed out. Yeah, it's my baby. Yeah.
So do you do the Sturgis thing? Do you do the bike
No,
tour?
because I think that, it's still, there's just this old part of me where I'm still a little bit aggressive, and, I kind of don't want to be around aggressive people. I think I'd be like, what did you say?
Yeah.
Big Frank don't play.
I told y'all, be
Big
careful
Frank
in
don't
that
play.
glass
Yeah, you don't play.
You're your bike Big Frank from now on.
Yeah, sometimes I'm on my back up into a light, and some bikers will come up around me and look at me, and I'm just like, don't play. Leave me alone. I don't want any trouble. I don't want any trouble. Yeah.
I actually started riding about 1.5 years ago.
What do you have?
I don't have anything yet
I
because
thought you were going to say
you borrowed your
scooter. I was
friend's
about to
bike?
follow.
A razor scooter.
That's how I ride it, man. Kick, push.
I think I saw you were driving a Vespa on the way here.
It's a start. Two wheels.
It's so freeing, man, being on that
Yeah,
road
it
and
is,
sitting
it is,
there and
it
then
is.
opening it up
Yeah.
with the curves and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
it
So
is.
props to that. Hopefully I get a Harley one day.
Yeah,
or
they're nice.
Kawasaki or
They're
something
nice.
like that. Yeah, for sure.
Be careful. Because
exactly.
I don't think people look at you. Like, I'll give a quick story. I was coming up the street right in front of my house. You think you're out on the street, you're on the open road, it's dangerous, you're paying attention, looking around everywhere. I get home, I come up my street, I kind of live on this hill, and the sun's come up my eyes, and I pull up to my house, I hit the garage door, open around my handlebars, right, and I'm waiting for the garage door to come up. I start to go, and here's some idiot comes like 60 miles an hour over the hill. And he would have taken me out. So I throttle it, I don't know what to do. I throttle it, the front of the wind comes up, kind of boom, boom, set it down, hit the curb, and go over the handlebars into this retaining wall in front of my house, and broke 3 ribs. Like I was going like 4 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Wow. So
it only hurts when you
God.
breathe, huh?
Yeah, exactly. It hurts when you breathe, tie your
Laugh.
shoe, everything.
Yeah.
It was crazy. So, 5 miles an hour, whatever I was going, like it's a dangerous thing. So to those riders out there, be careful, because
Yeah,
people
be
aren't looking.
safe.
People are
looking.
Are
Yeah.
not
People
looking.
in cars, start looking.
Start looking. Pay attention.
I see
Yeah.
a bike come, I do the whole like,
Yeah, pull over.
Yeah,
Yeah,
me
you know,
too.
I get the 2 fingers like,
Yeah,
what's up?
I get
Like,
mad if I don't get those 2 fingers.
Yeah.
Though, like,
Do you?
come
Do you
on,
get mad?
like,
Like, I did that
I'm here for you.
Do you know who I am?
I looked out for you. Yeah.
For sure. So I like the fact that we're going back to Chambers now, because I had this question, and now I have you in studio here. You end up, your character, not you personally, your character ends up in prison for the murder of Johnny Bellbonds.
Yeah.
What happened, man? What in your mind, just you just driving around the truck, get pulled over, guys like step out the vehicle? Like, what's going through Frank's mind there?
Okay, so Frank used to work in corrections, if that's the storyline. I don't know if everybody caught that, but he used to be, we did some flashback scenes, and excuse me, a couple of the scenes had been kind of deleted due to time. But Big Frank used to work in the prison system.
Okay.
So he was a prison guard, he was a correctional officer, and now fast forward, here we are. Now I'm going to the prison, I'm going to jail. So
That's not right.
Yeah, add that, right? So I hope that, like, in what was it, 9 or 10 when I was in jail, I hope that portrayed, like, I hope that came across, like, the concern when I was talking to my nieces, like, yeah, I'm gonna be okay, but I'm in the pen right now, and I probably know a lot of these guys in here. I was locked up in here, and then as I was asleep in my cell, they cut my ponytail off, and it was laying on my chest. So I'm like, and the thought was, somebody got to me in my sleep, and you don't sleep in prison, so you may knock out for a couple hours, but so somebody got to me, and that I think kind of started the whole realization to Big Frank that I'm in danger here.
Yeah.
Right? I'm in danger, and they can get to me. And that's kind of what Big Frank was thinking at the time. So we shall see.
What I love about that exchange is that even in that moment, Big Frank has so much to worry about, but and Sasha's like, "Oh, we're gonna get you out," and he's like, "Nope, you're gonna get good grades." Very important. Big Frank is like, "Don't get knocked up by TJ." He's like, "I know I got a million things to worry about, but let me be the dad for a minute."
I don't need that right now.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody needs that. some little demon baby or something.
Yeah, we don't know where that's going.
So I don't know. I just love that. And I think that it's I've got two fairly young kids, and what I can identify with Big Frank with is a lot of times you're just like, I have no idea how to do this. And sure, there's millions of books written. It doesn't matter if you read them or not. You're still like, I don't really know what to do about this. And I like that, like, he struggled with it, but he still always did the best he could. I mean, he went to a loan shark. I mean, he's just like, I have to try and fix this. So I was always team Big Frank on this show.
I've always been Team Frank. I was Team Frank. Do not go to the sleazy bail bonds guy though.
Oh yeah.
But how many times in life do we think we're doing something right, and then we have every good intention, and then we do it, and then the realization is like, what the did I just do?
Yeah.
And here we are. Every situation, every choice you make in life has a consequence, and the consequence can be good or bad.
Sure.
And a lot of times the consequences are bad, and this is what Big Frank's dealing with right now. He went with a good intention, but here we are. Now
I really wanted Big Frank to be a fly on the wall when TJ is talking to Sasha, who's out of it, and he's saying, "I miss you, I miss you, I miss you, and I miss your boobs."
Yeah.
I would have loved for Big
When
Frank.
did that happen?
It was just being honest. It was when she's passed out.
Yeah, and she's turned into Becky, and he's like, and it's weird because he's so sincere. He's like, "I miss you so much. I miss you, and I miss the way you laugh, and I miss your boobs."
Yeah, come to the wall, Kool-Aid man. Oh no, right?
You are now creepy, TJ.
Yeah. Now I got to talk to you.
Clearly,
Yeah.
TJ read my wedding vows, so he knows what you're talking about.
I saw those online.
I have learned so many tips about holding on to marriage on this episode. Just tell your significant other you love your boobs.
Yeah. Stick to the basics. Stick to the basics.
Stick to the basics. Well, I want to know, what was your opinion of TJ character-wise? I mean, I know he was definitely the boyfriend, and he definitely is in the circle of your niece. But I mean, of all the guys out there, he's not the worst.
No,
I mean,
no.
How
he's
did
great.
you approach that when you were preparing for your scenes and roles with TJ?
Are you saying the real Griffin or the character?
The character.
The character. I mean, it's every dad or uncle or whatever role model is vision to have somebody at the end of the day who's just gonna treat someone that you love with respect. I have a daughter, and as long as he doesn't have to be a doctor or a lawyer, but as long as he opens the car door for her, and as long as he acknowledges her birthday, and as long as he is respectful to his mother and her father, and he's a good man, as long as his heart is right. Everything's about heart. You judge the heart, and I think that he doesn't have to be some scholar, but as long as he loves her and he's good to her and has her best in mind, he's all right with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one time I opened the door for a girl, I slipped.
Did you say one time?
The only time
We'll talk later.
I slipped and knocked the door in 3 of my fingers and broke one of them. So I have
So do you keep doing it, or do you do?
it's hard to do it. I'm so shocked.
He's got a scar. He's got an
I'll just
emotional
like guide it like this. It's
Great
really weird.
experience.
Wow.
I do 2 hands to a door. It's so weird, man. But
Baby
I'm
step.
I'm
Baby
surprised
step.
you don't ask girls to open your door now.
No, that's terrible. That's 2019. Talking about the power of the women divine. In episode 10, we talked about Lilith. And what that means for maybe even a future story, but we're not going to go there for right now. But definitely, Sasha thought she was done with Becky, and this whole new layer to the annex and that following came through. I mean, what was the process behind that?
To be honest with you guys, I would get the scripts in advance, obviously, and I would go through and I would see my scenes and I would prep for my scenes because I'm a prep person. Like, if you don't have to be perfect. You have to be prepared, and that's just been my thing as an actor. I want to know if a director comes to me and say, "Hey, Marcus, we're going to go this way with it," and I wasn't prepared for that, I'm in trouble. So I massively prepare for a scene, not even a character, but for a scene. And so, in answer to that question, I kind of feel like I cheated a little bit. A lot of times, if I got a script, the next coming script, I might not have always, I would breeze through, but I wouldn't study other scenes because life, art imitates life. And I wanted to kind of be caught off guard, if that makes sense. So if I knew what was coming, especially in a supernatural or a horror genre, if you know what's coming, the shock factor is taken away. So I'd kind of breeze over or skip over a lot of that because I kind of wanted to be in real life. You know, you get taken back by things. You know, like your daughter comes to you and says, "I'm pregnant." You're like, but if I knew that ahead of time, I might have been like, you know what I'm saying? Here we go. Here we go. So in answer to your question, I kind of think that I might have, I wouldn't say it's cheating, but I kind of, I wanted to be taken off guard. And I would tell the showrunner and the writers, I would say, I don't want to know. Because art imitates life and you get blindsided or blown away by things when they're presented to you. And I wanted that, I wanted a little bit of that. So I had no idea that was coming. I told you I watched it. I watched episode 10. I was like, oh, wow, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah,
because
definitely.
didn't it leave so much open?
It
like,
did.
My God, if we're blessed with a season 2, that can go anywhere.
Yeah.
My God. Good writing. Good
Shouts
writing,
out to
guys.
the writers for sure, because of all the ways that we talked about this might go.
Yeah, no one
I
saw
don't think
that.
anybody said Lilith.
No.
No.
No one saw that coming, right? Yeah, it blew me away. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that the finale did a great job of answering some questions, but then it's like, oh yeah, now here's a million more questions.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
So it's like you feel like you got a satisfying answer, but it wasn't in the way of like, all right, well, I'm done with the show now, because then you just really want to see if they're able to tell more of the story. So I thought it was
a
great.
lot of avenues we can go next season if we get one.
Yeah, a lot of different layers of belief systems are intertwined in a whole story there for sure.
Yeah.
I also like the fact that Sasha was trying to figure out next steps with Harrison before that knock on the door. Like you saw the light of like the happy ending. And it was like,
yes,
like what's going to be her next move. So,
but I also like that Lilith kind of manifested herself when they said, "Hey, your family's got all these problems. It's not a real family. Come be with us." And she's like, "No, I got a family. Matter of fact, I'm gonna put all y'all to sleep."
Yeah.
For saying
But
I
did
don't.
you guys notice? Did you notice it was only the men who fell? Did you catch
I
that?
did that
actually.
because she's a divine. Do you guys know the story of Lilith? Right?
Yes, I had to look it up.
I'll tell you when I learned the story.
That blew me away.
The beginning of the episode when it was playing on the TV. So
That was the first time you heard the story of Lilith?
I understood that there's a Lilith fair. I remember that. But so I didn't know that
so
story.
manly of you not to know who Lilith is.
It just means just means maybe I took a nap in Sunday school. That's really all it means.
Yeah. Of biblical proportion.
Yeah,
Exactly. Can't mess with that.
But I mean, it's exactly like there's certainly we didn't think that was going to tie in at all, and even as we get to see the the creepy ritual that Becky had to go through and all that, I don't think any of us really saw that. So it was legitimately surprising, just surprise compounding on top of surprise. I thought it was great.
I was also surprised at the old lady when she was trying to help. She said no one tried to help her. So does that mean at one point they tried to put Lilith into her and it just backfired?
That's what I thought it meant. But I love that old lady. She's
Yeah.
great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
In real life too, her name is Teddy. She's the best. She was such a sweetheart. She's a trooper that she worked long hours, chain smoked every hour, and but she had the sweetest heart. And my hat's off to Teddy.
Did they make her sleep in the ceiling, or did
Sometimes.
she?
It depends how long we film. Yeah, it depends.
She's method,
Yeah, lay in the board, your back sore. Yeah, she was awesome.
So before we get out of here, I want to ask you, Mark, is there any future project on the horizon that you're working on?
A couple
you
things
wanna
in the
tease
works,
us?
but it's kind of taboo to talk about it. So I just want to in moving forward. I hope Chambers does really well. I hope we have many seasons to come. I hope we can entertain the fans with seasons to come. But I've been doing this a long time. I'm still in good shape. I hope I can play roles where I'm swinging some axe on a battlefield and be in some action.
Above par, my friend.
Yeah,
We already talked about this.
Just killing, just doing some major killing, doing some cool action stuff. But I also want to portray a role, roles where I can show some range or some colors and show that I have some heart and that the best part of me is my heart, and I want to show that. So yeah. There you go.
That's pretty cool. I mean, showing different sides of yourself.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of your heart, one of the things I read in your bio is that you're a supporter of Children's Hospital here in LA.
Yes.
So
Yes.
my daughter was born with a cleft lip and a cleft palate, so we go there a lot.
Okay.
So when I saw that, I just wanted to say thank you because
you.
that's
Yeah.
an organization I think they do a great job.
Yeah.
It's very near and dear to my heart. So I was glad to see that.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, life begins when you start thinking about others, and it took me many, many years to figure that out. For many years, I lived for the sole purpose of Marcus and myself, and it was an empty road, and I was constantly, empty. And when I started getting the lesson that life's about others, that's where life began. So yeah, it's always about others.
Have you ever thought about writing yourself?
What?
Like writing, since you want people to see your heart, have you ever thought about writing a specific series or a role or something like that for yourself?
I mean, I've written a script.
Okay.
I have a script, and it's ready to go in the works, and hopefully somebody brings that to life. It's kind of about my beliefs and what I stand on. And we shall see. We shall see.
I can't wait.
So what would you say out there for someone who is from a minority, but one that's not represented as much as others, and they were trying to break through and be the champion for their ethnicity? Like, what would we say to them to inspire them to write or create or to do?
I'd just say, like, there's so many times that this life, even I'm gonna go scripture on it. The Bible says there will be trials and tribulations. There's not that there may be. There's gonna be heartaches. There's gonna be tough times. There's gonna be hills and valleys. I would just say, knowing that that's the case in this thing called life, never ever give up. I know that sounds so cliche. Never give up on yourself, but don't give up on yourself. There's been times in my career when I have a family to take care of. I have people that are depending on me to go out there and do this. They're looking to me like, what are we going to do here? And if like I said, if you don't believe in yourself, no one's going to. And just never give up. Stay in the fight. Do what you got to do. And you just stick to your journey. The journey's amazing. Just live it to the fullest and never give up.
Wow.
Never give up. Yeah.
You can't knock that. It's a classic
Never
for a
give up.
reason.
Yeah.
I think all of us here are creators on some level, and a lot of our fans too. They do fan fiction. They want to be actors. They want to be things too. I know for a generation ago there was hardly any Caribbean American heroes on television. In fact, there's very few of them now, and there was that kind of hesitation there, being like, "Oh man, I don't know if the world's ready for that story."
Go for it.
I don't know if the world's ready for that story. But we're seeing more and more.
Yeah,
that
we are.
There's this need for content, but definitely this need to see other experiences, because we realize there isn't a unilateral American experience, there isn't a unilateral Black experience or white experience, and to see the Chambers and other shows like that to actually make that flourish is always great to see. And I'm glad that we have someone above par to share those perspectives with you. So.
Yeah, I think we're breaking some paradigms. That's what I said earlier in the interview. Is I hope that some of these new shows are spearheading some the new thing, as I want to say. One tribe. It doesn't matter where you're from, what you're about. We're all one tribe. We're all created by the same creator, and we're all one. And just just go out there. The journey is the best part. The finish line is great, but it's the journey. Enjoy the journey.
Yeah.
Enjoy the journey. It's the best. It's the best.
Well said.
Yeah, well said.
Yeah.
I just want to, yes, Chris?
No.
You have the breathing in like.
No.
When have you ever known me to have anything interesting to say?
That one time last week, I think it was the Tuesday. It was dope.
that's true.
Yeah, we ordered a
Good
sandwich.
Tuesday.
Good Tuesday. I want to thank you so much, Marcus, for
Thank
coming
you guys.
in today.
Thank you
Big
for having
Frank
me.
Yazzie
Thank you.
himself. Hey,
Thank
round
you
of
so much.
applause.
Thank you.
Man.
Thanks for having me.
A
Great show,
gentleman,
guys.
a scholar. Oh, look at that. The stadium
damn.
cheering and
Stadium
everything.
cheering.
Before we get out of here, where can people find you online and on the internet and social media and all that stuff?
On Instagram, Marcus LaVoi, and Facebook's kind of personal. It's kind of my family page, but yeah, Instagram, Marcus LaVoi, and just on Chambers Netflix. Just blow us up, guys. Chambers Netflix. Let everybody know that we want a second season.
We want to know what
I
happens.
definitely we need a second season.
Above all, we're grateful. So thank you, guys.
Okay,
Thank you
I will
so
stalk
much.
you
Thank
today. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You can find me on all things social media at JRae the Fanatic or online at jraythefanatic.com.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at ChristianDMZ, and here at AfterBuzz TV tomorrow night on the Twilight Zone After Show, and Tuesday on the Chernobyl After Show, and a million other places like that.
Speed
And by the
racer.
way, I am always going to stay Team Penelope. I don't care what anybody says.
She's awesome.
Yeah,
She's
I don't
awesome.
trust her, but I'm still on her
Like
side.
the micro machines, man. Everyone, I'm available on Twitter at Flobo Boyce, on Instagram at Flobito and Flobito.com. Thank you so much for keeping us inside your homes and second screens for the Chambers After Show. And until next time, buzz you later.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.